there's this massive shift away from network and cable news. You could see it, particularly among the younger set in America. When I say younger, 55 years and down. See, I see the ratings every day. Fox News has lost all of its younger audience, all of it. They're doing 150,000, 200,000, that kind of thing. I did 1 million when I was there, 25 to 54 on occasion. Okay, I mean, it's just stunning. Younger Americans. Now, the older people who want the martini and they want the remote, they stay. They're going to be the last ones at closing time. But closing time is rapidly coming. And therefore, the information flow to you, the American citizen, the American voter, is changing dramatically, and most Americans don't know that. So let's take a fast look at what has stimulated this story, and that would be a man named Tucker Carlson. So he took over from me. It took him about 2.5 years to right the ship after I left, and his ratings started to grow, and he was successful. No doubt about that. But it took him a while to do it, and he did it differently than I did. All right, Carlson and O'Reilly are two different guys. So Fox takes him off the air, and you know the story. And now Mr. Carlson says he's going on Twitter to do what he did on Fox. Same kind of show. Now, there has been no formal deal as of this morning, Tuesday, May 16th. Elon Musk says we don't have a deal. But I think a deal will be forthcoming. Carlson and Musk have a relationship. You remember that he interviewed Musk on Fox. But I'm not sure on how this is going to come down. I don't know. You know, when I left Fox, I took 5 people from Fox to have a core of people who knew what I do, and I knew they were professional and could, you know, right away get up a newscast up and running, which we did. And I don't know what Mr. Carlson will do. What I do know is there will be look-in, no matter where he is. People will look and see what he's doing. So joining us now is Gary Franchi from Chicago, who is the lead anchor on Next News Network. First of all, I'm going to give you a big plug at the top. Tell me what Next News Network is.
Well, we're an independent online news channel on YouTube that combats the false narratives that are constantly being peddled by the mainstream media, by the leftist media, and of course those in the halls of power in Washington, D.C. And we have a lot of fun doing it.
Okay, so you're YouTube based, and you're a for-profit organization, correct?
That's correct.
And how long have you guys been in motion?
We've had this channel on YouTube for about 10 years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you've seen significant changes in a shift away from the traditional television news outlets into the alternatives, correct?
Oh, there's no question. There's been a massive shift, especially following the 2016 election. Our channel received 70 million views in just 1 month towards the end of the election. And it represented, see, a lot of the mainstream networks were still focused on basic broadcast and cable content, where we were simply focused and always have been focused on online content. So the shift we clearly saw as the algorithm back then was wide open, people were flocking into the online spaces like YouTube to secure information and news so they could become aware of what's happening in the country and also get narratives that they weren't getting from the mainstream sources. So we saw a dramatic shift in 2016.
And that has just accelerated up to 2023 or not? Has it leveled out?
Well, after 2016, there was a dramatic shift in the algorithm. We saw the leftist media. We saw Donald Trump even come out and start using the term fake news that Hillary and Obama had started to use. You know, Trump came out and co-opted that term. There was a significant algorithmic shift. There was a panic that set in because we came in through the back door. We were there, we were presenting information, and it caused all of the individuals in the media to try to try to find a way to point fingers. How did this happen? Everyone's looking to point fingers except for Hillary Clinton looking in the mirror. So they shifted the algorithm so that the YouTube videos, if you were to search for Donald Trump or conservative news, it would only surface what they then deemed authoritative content. So now the algorithm has been manipulated so that the narratives can be controlled by the corporate masters, if you will, who are in those same newsrooms you were talking about, who will control you.
But how can YouTube allow censorship, which is basically what you're saying?
How can they allow? Well, it's their corporate platform. When you have people like Adam Schiff who are sending letters to YouTube and Facebook saying there's content on your platform that's dangerous and harmful, then all of a sudden, despite the fact that they have 230 protections, YouTube and Facebook and all these platforms, they freak out. They go, okay, we don't want to be dragged before Congress, so they go ahead and they shift their algorithmic reach. And also, I do believe that the Silicon Valley we're talking about here. This is there's so many leftists in that in Silicon Valley in the software world that they are happy to control the narrative. Especially if you look at what Project Veritas, when they broke that story, and they had a Google executive who had came out and they got him a little tipsy, and he says we can't afford another Trump situation.
Yeah, I understand his ideology, but your operation hasn't been censored by YouTube. Mine hasn't. I mean, we send clips to YouTube, and they just put them up, and we're responsible here. We're not doing crazy stuff here.
Well, we've had during the pandemic and of course the post-election, we had many videos that were removed from YouTube. We had videos that reached 10. Oh yeah, we had one video that had 10 million views that was pushing back against Dr. Fauci and the medical narrative that was being pushed by the World Health Organization.
Now, did you investigate why they removed that? I mean, I understand a public health component. They say this is propaganda or whatever. Let me rephrase the question. Right now, as it stands, because we've had a lot of exposure on the FBI going up to Twitter, all of that. Right now, are you under any censorship guidelines?
We have a terms of service at YouTube that we have to strictly abide by.
And give me an example of that.
Well, there's certain things you just cannot speak about on YouTube. You can't talk about the effectiveness of a certain medication that is been mandated by the federal government. You can't question the results of certain elections, and those are two off limits topics.
Okay,
and
so
as a result,
they still are. Again, that's not our experience, but we don't get into that very much. I mean, we're pretty straight in our reporting, and then my commentary is based on fact-based. We've never had a problem at all. Let me ask you about Carlson now. So Joe Rogan has made millions of dollars doing his podcast, right? Rogan.
Oh yeah. Oh,
You're
he's
familiar
very
with
successful.
him. Okay.
Absolutely.
And he's not censored. He's out there and he does his podcast, and people find his podcast, right? And then
to be clear, he was on YouTube for quite some time, and then he signed a contract with Spotify because he felt that the censors at YouTube were too constricting.
Okay,
and he
so
wanted
now
a place
he's
where
on
he could have free speech.
Spotify, and people find him and his podcast, and they watch it. He advertises, he monetizes it. Is that what Carlson's going to do? The Rogan model?
Well, it's kind of curious that what we've seen last from Carlson, his last video, 130 million views on Twitter. The fact that he decided to make Twitter his home base, I find kind of curious because Twitter is not really known for presenting itself as a video show platform.
That's true. But he has a relationship with Musk, and you got to figure that they have a template that they're going to run out for Twitter. You got to figure that, right?
Oh, exactly. So this could be a groundbreaking beginning for a new birth of media presentation and distribution on Twitter that we haven't seen before, where an actual show presents itself exclusively on that platform. Right. Very, very groundbreaking.
Okay. I think that's what's going to happen. But no matter what happens, the information flow is going away from the traditional people, and it's their own fault, into you and me and Carlson or Rogan, whoever it may be. Hey, Gary, we appreciate it. Keep us, if you get censored, Gary, by the way, let us know about it. That's an interesting story, okay?
We were just demonetized in February, so we've lost all of our YouTube revenue.
Well, that's not good. You got another home you're gunning for?
Well, we're going to keep on keeping on here, Bill.
All right. Well, I wish you the best, Gary. Thanks for coming on.